So you just take a moment to become present. At home you may have sounds, distractions, people, but you just take a little time to be on your mat, and so you can push those distractions away. And as you come to sit, let me remind us of Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor energy that lifts, the lower belly action of Uddiyana that supports, the spine growing against gravitational pull, the shoulders relax, so using your hands to support the back might be useful, or placing your palms up, using a mudra gesture, any finger to any thumb. And then maybe lower or close your eyes. I have a little background sounds. And so you find where your breath is available. Sometimes it's through the nose, but if you're congested, breathe through the mouth. The fact that you're mindfully attentive to the breath is what matters. Kind of helps us push those distractions away. Become aware of the tempo of your breath. The response of your body to the breath. And maybe you have fidgetiness, if that were a word. Maybe you feel you have to squirm around, or maybe you're good and settled. And then you notice any body parts that might be a little need of attention, and provide that to them, so know that not every pose may be available, and options or waiting is your go-to place. So as you come to sit a wee bit taller and flutter your eyes open and stretch your arms out to the sides of your space, feel the support of your core, the belly and the back, the crown of head lifting towards sky. As you lift the face and reach the arms either out or up, kind of fill yourself with this moment, and we put the palms at our heart just to give ourselves that attitude of gratitude. I'm so glad to be here and have people with me and have this practice together. And then we'll put our hands back and sit and spin. So as I gently move my torso around in my pelvis, if you need to re-sit yourself to make this easier, you can do that. So the pelvis is still and the body moves. Later in our practice, we'll hold the torso still and move the pelvis around for a similar feeling. If you haven't already, change and go the other way. All in the presence of your breath. And then go ahead, put your hands behind, lean back, and put the bottom of the feet together. While you're leaning on your hands in any way that's comfortable, the palms don't have to face a particular direction, and the feet don't have to be. So someone asked me, what kind of yoga do you teach? And I said, whatever. So kind of whatever. I'm not a fastidious follower of one. So when you lean back, your knees might fall out a little more. You could be this, I'm very tight, and so here's a little further for you. So just let the heart lift as you create a bit of a curve, maybe looking outward. And then tighten through the belly and let the shoulders kind of relax forward. Repeat that. You might recognize this as a bit of cat and cow. We do not have to be doing this at the same time. Opening, feeling that arching, and then tightening through the belly and rounding. I think one more is good. And then we'll leave the right leg tucked in and let the left leg stretch out to the side. Side being relative, so side out to the side wherever it goes. Again, use your hands behind and see if you can rock a little bit from side to side to find your pelvis, and that you're not just leaning over on one hip more than the other. Sit up nice and straight, nice and tall. Now use the hands to hinge the torso forward, and your inner thigh of the extended leg should say good morning to you. Good morning. And then if you say, I could move my hands in front and still leave my pelvis down, Karen, should I do that? Well, maybe. or maybe not. This is the region that we're working to open. As you come back up, take your left hand and move it behind you, and then turn the body as best you can to face the extended leg. So mostly leaning on the left hand, the right arm will come over your thigh. So here's my knee and here's my thigh. Put my hand over there. Using the hand behind me to kind of push me forward, letting my right arm slide out my leg. And I may not go as far, or you may go all the way down to your foot. This is pretty early in the practice. Let's just kind of feel that opening on the right side. Be attentive to your bandhas and breath. Very easily draw yourself up, so we could do the same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna pick her up and move her out. And then sit up nice and tall and move myself forward. Again, adductors, inner thigh. I'm really attentive to those muscles as I go forward. And if there's some knee constraints, you should honor those knees. So we're just kind of checking out how we're feeling. All right, let's take the right arm behind you, turn the torso toward the leg, left hand then just above the knee on the thighs, outer thigh side. Creep down as you push with the back hand. Just notice how it feels this morning. Sometimes things are available, sometimes they're not. Bandhas and breath, and then recover, and coming over into hands and knees. So you guys will face me, I'll just face, I get two sides I can go to. So we're here on carpet, whereas when I'm at the desert, I need extra padding. So if you do need extra padding at home and you don't have a blanket, you can draw your mat back. And then for hands, if your hands don't like to be on palms, knuckles, but with your thumbs forward for the alignment to your shoulder. So hands under your shoulder, knees under your hips, and let's work on the bendy toes. I love to get my bendy toes. Knowing that feet can be problematic, you may need to stop or change. So I'm just gonna back my hips toward my heels, kind of sinking into that flexion of the toes. As I come back, I'm gonna let the heart go beyond my arms until I feel a bit of core work so that I don't fall on my face. And go back and forth. So just do this at your own pace. Going back, going forth, just stretching into the toes. Sometimes pushing with your arms can be useful. So let's end up between the two. You can relax the feet and hold the torso still, but move the pelvis in a circle. Let's think of it as the hula. And then going the other way. So that's around and back. So as you move, keeping your chin up. And then pausing center, and then swivel the pelvis. So it's like a puppy dog swinging its tail from side to side. It's kind of that swinging. Again, ascertain how your low back, so rather than leaning, it's a swivel. And we're gonna go down into our forearms. So as I place my forearms down, it puts my elbows under my shoulder and my bum's up in the air. Slide one of your toes back, stay on the ball of your foot, engage through the core as we come to the elbow plank on the forearms. Now the hips will come down a little, but you know, gravity is going to want to take them all the way down. So if you need to modify, put the knees down or stay on your toes, look out toward the fingertips, drive the elbows and hands into the mat, and feel that strong upper body. As you breathe, feel free to put the knees down anytime you'd like to. No competition here. So we're gonna lift the hips, go to what's called the dolphin. The hips go up and the feet walk forward a little. If you have shoulder issues, do not overwalk this. If you don't have shoulder issues and you wanna walk further, that's fine. Otherwise, just find a place where you can somewhat hike your hips up. A little bit of inversion. Walk or slide your feet back. Gaze forward. Let the knees touch down and stay with me on this. Relax your toes. Let the tops of the thighs make their way down. Feel your pelvis begin to touch. Hold up your belly button. Draw the shoulders down, and we move to Sphinx. Now, people with back issues may need to move those elbows forward to mitigate the amount of low back compression. But you heard me say the belly button did not come down and relax on the mat. And then you gaze outward. So the beautiful Sphinx. So again, building upper body strength, mindfulness to support through the core. It's not a whole lot. Kind of reminds you when you were a kid and used to just sit and watch TV because the TVs in those days were on the floor, not up on the wall. But nowadays we don't do much of this, so this could be problematic for your back. Let's go ahead and make a little armrest for our chin and relax the back. And then let one knee come up at a time, so we're going to activate our hamstrings. Oh, there goes my popping and cracking. It can happen. As long as it doesn't hurt, you're probably good. So now I'm going to open my hip a little bit. So turn your, doesn't matter which leg, one of your knees out to the side and pull the knee up. And if you need to take a hand because you might like it further, or maybe grab your heel, just get that knee up and then come back and stay there for a moment and notice. I find that I may sleep like this sometime. Let that leg just kind of creep its way back down. Once it gets back to the other leg, you can pull other leg up. And then settle yourself. So we have two sides. Sometimes they respond differently, so maybe notice a difference, or maybe not. For some, this is going to affect the back, for some, the hips, for some, not so much. Gently move yourself back onto your belly, turn those toes under, slide those hands just behind the shoulders and the elbows are in. We're going to come up on all fours, but let's leave the knees down and lift the pelvis first so your hip bones come up. And then as best you can, leaving those hips up, press up onto the hands, and then move the knees forward back under your hips. Changing to knuckles if you'd rather. Slide, let's do the same leg, so my reference to us is the same. Leaving the toes turned under, slide the right foot back. Push the heel without letting it slide you back. Just push the heel. Nice calf stretch. Think it feels good. You're going to load into your hands. So if that's difficult for wrists, it can be done on your knuckles. Anchor those shoulders, which we just strengthened. And if possible, lift both the knee and the left foot up. Chin up, look outward. Kind of feel that power. Setting the knee and foot down, raising the extended leg behind you up, not letting it turn open. Bird dog, so opposite arm, that'd be left arm, right leg. Let the right foot come down, let the left hand move to your hip. You're going to open yourself to the bent knee, open yourself up, modified sunbird. You could reach up with your arm, if the shoulder were allowing. Some people even grab the foot behind them, so if you picked up your back foot and wanted to grab it, you don't have to. Modified's good. Bring the high hand down, bring both knees down, relax the feet, go to child's pose just for a moment. And this is where I remind you, anytime you need to go to child's pose, you just go there for whatever reason. So if you're with me in person, there's no judgment. I won't worry about you. I'll just know that you're doing you. You're resting your wrist. You're bringing that attentiveness back into your practice. So now we come up and go to the other side. Back to all fours, toes are turned under, left foot now slides back, pause there, push through the heel, because that's just yummy to the calves, I feel. That's really good. And rather than sinking into the arms, push away. Palms or knuckles when ready. If ready, lift the right knee and the right foot off. Chin up and breathe. Anytime the foot or knee needs to come down, no permission is required. Then I set the knee down and lift the back leg, left leg up. I'm just looking for it to be parallel to ground, not too high. And then opposite arm should be your right arm reaches forward into bird dog. We do this to strengthen our back and our whole backside. Now as that back foot drops down to the ball of the foot and the hand makes the way to the hip, turn that top shoulder open, push the bottom shoulder forward, and if you think reaching up to the sky would be a good thing, reach up. Lower the hand back down. Again, one more time in child's pose. Remember, if you part the knees, it creates a little more space for you. So maybe you're becoming aware that when you turn your neck and you turn your head, that affects some differences. So you're going to be moving into down dog. Our first down dog will be done with bent knees. So come back to all fours. Turn the toes under, lift up the hips. Look back and keep the knees bent. Notice that when the knees are bent, it's really nice for your back. You can really lift the tailbones up, eyes towards your thighs. Should feel really safe, easy for your shoulders, easy for your back. Now we begin to walk the dog so that one heel sinks toward the floor, but not forcing it, the other leg bent, and then switch. So we're walking our dog. Hold both of your heels up, take a breath in, bend the knees, sit back, look to your hands, and then walk on up to the front of your mat where your hands are. Putting the hands above your knees on your thighs, you're going to straighten both the legs and the arms and come to what we know as the bookshelf pose. Lean into your toes to get the elbows straight and stick out your chest and your tailbone. So it almost feels like you're arching. So yes, the elbows will be straight. I know it doesn't feel like they can straighten, but lengthen your spine. Bring your head forward. Feel the sit bones spread apart. Draw up the energy in Uddiyana action. Say good morning to your hamstrings, and we're going to be working on those with the pyramid pose. As I bend the knees, moving into my chair pose, knowing there are variations, so a more simple one might be the arms in front of your chest and your knees not so bent. A little more challenging would be a lower squat and a higher reach. One not better than another, just the one that suits you today. So I'm going to say on the inhale, I'm coming to a chair pose. On the exhale, I move into that bookshelf pose. And then when I run out of air, inhale to chair, and exhale to bookshelf. So So as you're doing this, when you go to the bookshelf pose, really think of sticking out your bum. I know it's not very intuitive for us girls to want to do that. We usually like our bums tucked under. Remember, we don't have to be at the same time, and the elbows should remain straight during both of these poses. So next time you come to chair pose, pause there, join the palms together and place them at the heart. Relax the neck and shoulder. Lean a little forward, as this is going to help us get to our wobbly crescent pose. Right foot steps back, and then go further, further, further. Use the hands to push the heart up, and you feel the front of that right thigh open. Sink down, feel grounded. Some people push the feet, some feel that they're pulling in to give a little more stability. Reaching the arms outward. And just consider your arms a little extra body weight, loading into your core. And then let the arms lift up, not the chest, just the arms, and maybe deepen a little more and squeeze the back knee a little more. And then open the arms, watch your space out to the side. Notice maybe a little better sensation of stability. And then the freaky one, where the arms go behind your back. You can grab the hands or lace the fingers and consider trying to straighten the elbows. This one's freaky. We all like our arms in front when we think that we might fall over. Release the hands down to the mat into a lunge. Step your front foot to the back foot and move to a plank position. From your toes or from your knees, chest and hips come down at the same time and the elbows are in. Soft landing, relax the feet. Without pushing on the mat, a baby cobra inhale. Relax back down. Again, inhale, baby cobra or cobra for those who would. And exhale down. We'll do one more. Those who would do up dog, feel free. You don't have to. Baby cobra, cobra. For those that do up dog, the last thing is to come up on the toes, but you don't have to. So up we come into downward dog. Toes under, hips up from the knees or hips up from your toes. Leave the hips up, press yourself back up into your downward dog and adjust your feet. That means move them forward a little. Now, if it's better for you to do the bent knee variation, bend your knees. If you can do it comfortably with your legs straight, do it straight. See if you can find a calm place here. Stand on your left foot, stretch the right leg up in the air behind you. Can be parallel or turned out. Arms are straight, legs are straight. Bring that foot down. Breath in, the other foot will rise. It helps if your standing leg grounds into the floor at the heel. Breath out, foot down. Breath in, raise your heels. Exhale, bend the knees, sit back, look forward. You walk, you step, or you jump right up to the front of your mat. Move into chair pose. Put your eyeballs back in their head. And then to that bookshelf pose. So elbows are straight, chest dives out, pelvis opens up. Again, chair pose, variations as you wish. Exhale, bookshelf pose. Last time into our chair pose. Join the palms, bring them into our heart. Tip a little further forward. Stand on your right foot, unless you did the other foot, in which case switch. And then step the left foot back and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Go deep, go long. Keeping that back leg straight. Raise the chest. Ground yourself. If you're not used to carpet, it may feel more wobbly. Just be aware of this feeling as you're lifting up and sinking down. I know that sounds diametrically opposed, kind of is. Ground yourself, but lift out of the grounding. Reach the arms forward. Did you miss it, or did you notice when the arms went forward how your back had to participate? Well, hold the weight, I don't know. How many pounds do you think the arms are? A few. Letting the arms float upward. Steady gaze, steady breath. Finding that balancing with the arms to the side, being aware of your space. And then the freaky one where the arms go behind you. Straighten if you can the elbows. Nice deep breath. And if you fall out of it, it happens. Bring your body more perpendicular to ground rather than leaning forward. Bring that chest up. Release down to the low lunge and into your plank or push-up position. Again, from knees, from toes, chin up, elbows in, down we go. Relax the toes. Inhale up, baby cobra, cobra up dog, your choice. Exhale, come down. Toes under, hips up first, knees or toes, and into downward facing dog. Adjust those feet, and you can use child's pose if you'd rather. See if this breathing can calm you down. Raise the heels, bend the knees, look forward, walk, step. Some people might even jump to the front of the mat. So this time, put the hands on or around your calves. Keep the body resting on the thighs. As you bow over, try and pull together as you do more of a Uttanasana. And be aware of the hamstrings. Release the arms, bend the knees, watch the blood pressure as you come all the way up, not letting the hips thrust forward, lifting the heart, lifting your arms, finishing your breath, your palms come together. And exhale, the hands at Namaste. Okay, here's where I need for you can do the hokey pokey, shake it all about. Here's where you're going to need either a wall. Is this a hearth? Mm-hmm. Okay, the hearth, a chair, an ottoman, just something in front of you. So we're going to do the pyramid pose. Now, if you don't have any of those nearby, you're at home and you say, oh, I have nothing. I can't get to my wall. There's no chair in here. So you can always use your hands on your thighs as you go forward. The advantage to using a wall is you can push against the wall, or some other thing, pardon my backside, is that you can keep leading the heart forward. So this is a big opening for the back of your legs, so let's not force it. When you go forward, tendency is to put more weight on the front foot, so you consciously keep weight on the back foot. You can stand on them, I think you'll be able to follow me. You can use the chair if you want. Okay. Just turn and face the chair. So let's figure out where do the feet need to be. I'm going to bring my chair over here, then I can demonstrate. Everybody get their chair at home? Are you good? All right, so where do I put my feet? It varies. Taller people will have a wider stance. Shorter people may have a narrower stance. But the good stance for you that coordinates to your feet is the feet are hip distance apart. Let's leave the right foot in front just for reference sake. Take your left foot back so it's at the marker of the heel. And then you're going to move the toe of the back foot to where the heel is. And now you've got about 2 feet distance. Or some people would do 2.5. Now it's a little wobbly because both feet are pointing forward. Put your hands on your hips. Remember, I call these my headlights, my low beams and my high beams. And that when I go forward, I want to keep them pointing toward the ground, as the tendency to go further would be to go open. So as you go forward, if your chair or wall is nearby, you reach out onto that, and you should feel a big pull in the back of the front leg, yes? Mm-hmm. Yes. So nothing too far, too fast, too soon. If you're the person who says, but could I just go to the floor and lay my body on my thigh? I would say, sure, why not? If you can do that, hinging. So notice that big pull, keep some weight on the back leg. Imagine a giant pillow between your legs, so you kind of draw the legs inward to hold it. Slowly bring yourself up. Use the chair, the wall, whatever you have in front of you or your leg, and then slowly come up and reposition the hands behind your back. So what you're going to see is my hands are stacked, or maybe your hands can go in and grab your elbows, or maybe you're the hands in reverse namaste kind of person. Any of those are fine. It's freaky because your hands are behind you. Now look outward at your space, and you're going to travel your eyes up the space. So it might be a wall in the distance or a wall right in front of you. Travel your eyes up and keep lifting the chest as if to shine your high beams up toward the sky. Press into the front foot. Now if looking up makes you feel uncomfortable, just gaze forward, but you can still feel that you're lifting the chest, and breathe. Slowly return yourself back center. Release the arms. Let them reach outward and either find the chair or the wall, whatever might be in front of you, or your leg, keeping that back hip forward. And let's go into Uttanasana again. And maybe you go a little further, maybe you don't. Who knows? Both legs are straight, feet are parallel. Take in a long breath. Respect your body. Again, that squeezing of the imaginary pillow, releasing the hands once you get up, binding the hands either at hand or at elbows or in reverse namaste, traveling your eyes up the wall, maybe skyward, just a sense of opening up. A little bit of vulnerability. I'm like vulnerable here. I could step out of it. And if it happens, it's okay. And slowly return center. Relax the arms, step your feet together. I know this song is like Eric Satie, isn't it? Da, 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 da. It's lovely. Okay, so you should feel different. One leg has not responded yet. So let's be as close to the wall or chair or whatever you used as you were before. Find your feet parallel. So we did the right leg, but if you did the left leg, switch it. I'm going to move my right foot back so it's at the heel of my left foot, though they're not together. Then I'll move the toe toward that heel, and then for me, I like 2.5 of those feet step back. And then get your bearings as you ground down into the earth. Position your chest and hips forward, and then begin leaning outward using your thigh or wherever the wall or chair might be, and find forward fold. Consider if I put a stick across your low back, you would want that stick to not wobble. You would not want it to tip one way or another. So we always say lead with the heart, not with the head. Be attentive to the breath. Wondering how available this leg is as opposed to the other leg, and is that because of the back or why is that so? Find that imaginary pillow, engage those legs, lift the chest, walk yourself up with support. Once you're up, you bind the hands, either palms or elbows or reverse namaste. Let the eyes travel up. Remember, keep some weight on the front leg as you open yourself up. What are you finding out about yourself as you open yourself up? Step back from judgment. Just be accepting. One more breath as you release forward. Let's go right in. Releasing those hands, finding support in the wall, the chair, leading with the heart. Maybe finding a little more freedom this time, maybe not. Again, squeeze that pillow, lengthen your spine as it may have rounded a bit. Engage yourself as you come up one more time and open. If you feel the open has been enough, you can just stand tall and gaze outward. If you're inclined for another back bend, invite yourself to bend. And returning back center, and here's where you do the hokey pokey and shake it all about. Nice. I usually have my little watch, my clock in here, but I guess I'll have to use my watch here. Okay, so let's do a little bit with this apparatus. So if you're at your wall, stay there, bring your mat over if you don't have it. Watch a moment. We're going to go down and we're going to put our feet either up on the wall, or for those of us that are using the chair, up. Here she goes down without her hands again. That's always good. So you can do one of a couple things. This is an inversion. Some people might want the pillow under the head. And so if you had your feet on the wall, it would be thus. If you had it on the ottoman or it's fine to put it on the chair. Look at you go down without your hands. Well done. And so with your arms there, let me just demonstrate and then I'll let you find it your own way. Press into that and elevate into your bridge pose. If your feet are on the wall, they might want to straighten up. If you're on the chair, you're just going to stay here. So if you've not already figured it out, engage your bandhas, press into the wall or the feet. This should put you on your shoulders. This should not jack your neck. If you need to get closer or further away, adjust. There's sometimes a cramping can happen in your hamstrings if you're too far away. This is where I get to say bottoms up. Bottoms up. No need to change the shoulders. Now, inside our body are so many organs. You got the liver, you got the kidneys, you have miles of intestines. You may still have a gallbladder, who knows? Well, you have all these things that always sit on the same other organ. When we stand, when we sit. And so I call this one fluffing our innards. We're going to fluff our innards up. Let the other guy sit on top. Now come down from your upper back, pull in your belly button to get the middle back, and slowly release into the lower back. Now you can leave the hands by the side. I might want to put my hands behind my head so I can gaze over at my friends who are here doing yoga with me. So you can lift and lower the hips. They're not going to go that high with 2 feet. That might be the better option because you don't want to get a cramp. Or you could put your foot up and do 1 foot and then the other foot after we switch. If you say, I don't like the wall, I don't like the chair, you can always put your foot down on the floor and do this in traditional bridge pose. So give it a try. I'm going to just count to 10, and then if you're on 1 leg, switch, and if you're on 2 legs, you won't switch. So elevate your hips and lower your hips for 10 times. If you're doing 2 feet, do another set of 10. If you've completed 10 with 1 foot, go ahead and switch to the other foot and complete 10 lifting and lowering on the other side. Keep breathing. finished, you're gonna let both legs stay up with support, and it may be, if you have a pillow, useful to stick the pillow under your bum if you can't get the legs up straight. So if you can't reach them because they're out here, maybe you do one at a time. The idea is you want to open those hamstrings back up. Now leave the legs up best you can, even if they're bent a little. Hands can come back down to the floor. I like mine behind my head, so you can put them there. So if there's a wall in front of you, you're going to take one leg and let it move to the wall and come back up. If you're at a chair or something else, you're just going to let it go down until it finds that space and comes back up. Do this slowly, mindfully, just see what's going on here. So clearly our core is being asked to stabilize us as these long levers called legs move their way downward. So straight leg, bent leg, whatever you can manage. Slower is better because it requires more muscle rather than momentum. Now see if you can simultaneously switch them. So there's no pause, you have one leg going down while the other leg is coming up. Make a little more out of the leg coming up than you might normally think to do. So you've got that zipper zipped, transversus abdominis engaged. Now I'm going to add one more element. It is not a twist, it's just lifting and lowering my head. So lifting my head up and lowering my head down. And then lifting my head up and lowering my head down. You can use one hand if you want to lay the other hand down, just so that your head has support. So not letting the legs come all the way down to the floor is what I'm striving for here by having the wall or the chair in front of you. Now go ahead, let your legs rest on the chair, let your head rest in the floor or on your hands. Now we will activate the obliques. That means there's going to be some rotation. If you don't want to do rotation, repeat what we've just done. So you will want likely both hands behind the head. You will have your feet on the chair or the wall. But this time you're going to bend one knee, and rather than thinking elbow to knee, which doesn't create much rotation, think more shoulder up to your hip, and then come back down and switch sides, and then eventually we'll get to the simultaneous one. Again, try not to turn this into a fitness like bicycle thing. So do one leg, then the other leg. The knee comes in bent, the knee comes in bent. There you go. So it kind of takes you to that bicycle thing. So right now you're just moving at that one leg at a time. Enlist your breath. You'll find when you exhale on the contraction, it creates a little more space in your belly. See if you can do this simultaneously. So rather than waiting for that first leg to go down, there is that pause when you come together. And again, focus on the knee pulling in, pulling that knee in. About 5 more. And when you're done, you're going to bend those knees, put the hands down, and move back up into your bridge pose. If you don't want to use the wall or the chair, you just put your feet down on the floor and elevate your hips into your bridge pose. And then you can say, thank you, Karen, because this should feel good. Now, most people will close their eyes in a bridge, but I might encourage you to watch your belly breathe. Watch that belly breathe. And descending from the upper back, through the middle back, through the lower back, began, I said we would do this. Bring your knees in, hold them together with your hands. The torso is still, and the knees will move in a circular pattern. A few times each way. So it probably feels different than remember we were sitting and we were spinning our spine around? It's a little different feeling. Now, depending on where you are, you might rock up straight ahead, or you may need to roll to your side to bring yourself up. And if you're at a wall or you need to come back to be close, that's fine. So we're back here. Wait a moment for your blood pressure to equalize. You know, when you lay on your back a long time, everything goes where it goes. So let's give a little attention to our shoulders. There are people that this is where all their tension goes. I don't know how you would notice that, but this is where it goes. Some people hold tension in their back. So you can sit like this, you could sit up in the chair, you could even sit on your knees. This is your time just to focus on your levators. So the hands can be, the arms can be wherever. They're going to respond because we're moving the shoulders. So elevate and depress. Breathing in and breathing out. So those are two things that our shoulders can do. Now let them be just in between. Retract and protract. Now it looks like I'm moving my arms, but honestly it's initiating from my shoulders. Shoulders draw back and shoulders draw forward. Retract and protract. So I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer it out loud. I want you just to consider, where do you think our shoulders are in everyday life? For some, it's going to be more protraction. For some, more elevation. So where I think we should be is home. Not up, not down, not front, not back. So see if you can figure out where is home. Because it changes. If you live in your body and you're not mindful to it, gravity will take over and you'll become that well-rounded individual. So we see those bodies. So let's keep our shoulders here and begin turning our head one side to the other. You can go as fast or slow as you'd like to. When I come back, I will clean my windows. Now see if you can look a little behind you without twisting. Just see if the head can go back. How far can you look? And then how far can you look? Now let's do that funny little yoga thing. I don't think it's any scientific demonstration. Look over your shoulder as far as you can and spot what you can in the furthest part. So look over and kind of see the edge of the screen of the fireplace. Okay, look back. Take your right hand, if you looked over the right shoulder, and rub your earlobe. Don't ask. Just rub your earlobe. We'll just see what this means. Yes, it's one of the weird things that I've been known to do. Did I ever do this with you? Okay, go back and look over that shoulder. Oh my gosh, I see the fire. Question is, did you see a little bit more when you looked over? I don't know, that's just so weird. Let's try the other side. Okay, look back, just see as far as you can look. Okay, come back center. Rub the earlobe. There's no science behind this. It's just a weird thing to do. Weird is good. Okay, after you've given that earlobe a little cleaning, look over that shoulder and see if you go a little further. Well, that worked for me, so I don't know why that is, but there you now have it. Okay, so let's go to a twist. We all need to be sitting on our bums with our legs forward. This is the Lord of the Fish, and there are some variations depending on your hips and depending on your knees, and we'll get a little more into some hips. So, option one, right knee comes in, or right foot goes over. Either or. If you do the foot over and you say, can I take that leg out front and sit it back and sit on both my hips? I'd say, well, sure, if you could, you could. Some people this doesn't work because of knees, so it's an either or. You're gonna be sitting on both your sit bones, and sometimes I reach in and do this weird thing of moving my buns away so I have a better sense of where my bones are. So any way you get, then the knee that is up, the opposite arm holds that knee. This can change from a hand to an elbow to an upper arm, but I would do it progressively. So you want the right arm and your left leg. Take your left hand, if your left knee is up, whichever knee is, oh wait, is that your right leg? Okay, then you were correct. So whichever knee is up, that arm goes behind, and that helps you sit nice and tall. The leg that, if is extended, is active. If it's tucked under you, it won't matter. So I get that we can turn, but let's lead with the shoulder behind you. So you get tall, breathe in, turn, and just enjoy whatever you're seeing. And you can stay here and just take from it what you need. You could change the hand to an elbow, get a little taller and look a little further. You could stay there. Or you could take the upper arm against the outer thigh, get a little bit taller and look a little bit further. So each variation has a little something different. It's not better, it's just different. And slowly on your exhale, return. Let's sit with both legs out in front. And we'll set up on the other side. So option 1, just pulling the knee in. Option 2, crossing the leg over. And option 3, pulling the foot not under your bum, but off to the side. So you really need a little bit of hip flexibility to do that one. So you get to choose, because it's all about you. Whichever knee is up, opposite arm holds it. Same arm supports the back. It's the lifting that you want before you turn into your spine. So take your easy turn. Maybe that's good. You don't have to go to the end of the rainbow. Sometimes sitting on the top of the rainbow might be a nice view. Get a little bit taller, maybe change the hand to an elbow or not. Should you want to go any further, that upper arm might hold on the outer thigh or not. Nice deep breaths as you're in rotation. Mindfulness to the lifting. Experience the response of your body to this move. And slowly return center. Once you're here, both legs out in front, and just give me a moment, I'm going to show you, we're going to be laying on our bellies and building some upper back strength. I think we did this last time you were here, Laura. So when you're on your belly, your feet will stay on the floor, depending on your back. So if you know you have no issues with your back, you're probably just going to lift one arm, elbow up, and use the support of the other arm to help draw you up. And you're going to lift a lot higher because you have the help of the lower arm. If not, you're going to use two arms, pull the elbows back, and come back down. And we're only going to do about 10, so you just count those for yourself. I'm going to suggest breath out when you go up as you effort, and breath in when you come back down and relax. But don't fight with your breath. Reminder, the feet stay on the floor, and whenever you feel that you'd like to begin, and you can mix and match the arms. So you'll do about 10. Try and touch your elbows. When you finish your 10, just pause there a moment. You'll be resting and you'll notice how the muscles are resting. So the next one can be a little tricky if you have some known back issues. Sometimes we have back issues and we don't know about them, but until you do and they're not an issue, I guess we just keep moving in a way that's mindful but aware. So my feet are gonna squeeze at the knee, my bum is gonna squeeze, and I'll raise both legs up. You don't have to point your toes, and lower them back down. It'll be the same as what we've just done. I prefer your upper body for this one just to stay down. You could put your head here, you can lay on your cheek, and again, just go for 10. So you'll be squeezing, the legs will rise up and lowering. Legs are straight. When you get to 10, just relax. Take in the sensation of relaxation. I think yoga helps bring awareness to when we effort, but I also want it to bring awareness to when you relax. That's your parasympathetic nervous system giving you support for when we do effort. So there's as much importance in letting go. Some of us never let go. We're always a bit on the edge. So take in that feeling, you feel your glutes begin to relax. So only 5 of both arms and legs. And again, if your back has got some issues, maybe just 1 arm, 1 leg, or 2 legs, 1 arm, whatever feels that you can manage. Nobody should be in pain. Minor discomfort's probably okay. If you can do both, so it's a Sala variation, and coming back down. Now, there is the one where the arms are in front. I usually steer away from arms extended forward. That really tends to pinch into the back. So see if you can accomplish 5 of your own making with breath. When you've completed 5, I'd like for you to gently move your way into your child's pose. And I do mean gently and slowly. Now the arms can be extended. Some people like that. It helps lengthen your spine. And the variation on that, elbows down, hands in prayer behind your head. So almost feel that traction of someone pushing your tailbone down as your arms are lengthening in one form or another. Walk your hands forward and out to the edges of your mat so that you feel the edges of your mat. Then walk your left hand over and put it on top of your right hand. Push your left hip over to the left heel of your foot. As you straighten yourself up, move left hand to left edge of mat, right hand comes on top of it, hip shifts off to the right heel. And return center. And I want you to come up on your mat. We're going to finish with what I think would be a good hip strengthener for all of us. You're going to sit in what's kind of like a pigeon pose. So the front leg comes forward where the knee is on one side of the mat, the shin goes across and your foot is over there. So your leg is kind of the same as the short end. and you're leaning off to that side so you can get there easily. This back leg comes up and goes along the edge of the mat. So I have a leg coming to my knee, taking a right angle to my foot, taking a right angle to my knee all the way down. Now right now I'm leaning off and that makes that easier. Now I'm gonna go lean further forward so both hands are in front of my legs. For some people this is difficult. And all you're gonna try and do is raise that back foot. The key word try, not necessarily accomplish. So it'll be this, 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 this. Play with it, play with it. Bring your leg back further. You have it up close, slide it back down, 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 more, 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 more. Yeah, you and your tight hips, yeah. So this is a glute med specific. So glute maximum, minimus, and med. So this guy's really underworked. Okay, now you're gonna end up facing the long end of your mat, and that back leg now is what was the front leg, and the front leg comes around here. So you should be able to just flip it over, make your foot come out to the edge of the mat, rather than leaning over on the side of the front leg, move yourself over center, and then lift, oh gosh, lift, just the foot, just intend to lift that foot. I did not make this up, by the way, but I have found it to be very beneficial to my cranky hips, so I'm sharing it, and you gotta breathe. I say one more. And now you get to go onto your back, so I'm gonna drag that back leg around and open into your hips. So when you come down, you get into what would be the pretzel pose or the four pose. You can put the pillow under your head. It's the leg down below that pushes the ankle. The knee above either gets pushed out with your hand or an elbow. For some, you're gonna get a little more glute, and for some, it'll be a little more hip. If you roll, depending on which leg is up, so whichever one has the foot on top, if you roll toward the bottom of that foot, that might offer you a little more. Just kind of saying. Make sure you're pushing that knee outward. Okay, switch legs. Ankle, knee, push that knee in to push the ankle towards you, but then push that corresponding knee away. And then roll a little from hither to yon. Notice your breath. Maybe your temperature is changing. Now as you set your feet down, find the edges of your mat with the feet, and the arms can come down by your side. This is where I do the windshield wiper. I do mine really slow because I do have a cranky back. I want to make sure. So make sure your feet are to the edges of your mat. That means the feet are far apart. And then if you want to stay on one side, stay just a little bit longer. So for some of us, it's the top leg that you feel the opening, your iliopsoas. But then you notice the pull in the back because that's from where it comes. So I always come out of it by gently lifting and not lifting both legs, but one over the other. So feel free to hang out on one side. Maybe you get a little bit of quad. Just a heavy body. Returning center, both legs go straight, but then pick one leg in, hug it into your chest. Push one foot away as you pull the other leg in, and then doing your best to straighten that leg that you've pulled up. Now you may hold at the hamstring, the calf, the foot, but you do need to have the leg straight, and that means even if you have to lift your head and have your leg outward. Now, as you're doing this, imagine I've come to you and slid my hand or tried to slide my hand under your low back. You should not be pushing down with the low back so much that I couldn't get my hand in there with a little try. So create a little space for me by arching that low back, and notice what happens. So we did work a lot with those hamstrings. This maybe is more available to you today. Check in with your breathing. Bend that leg, let's switch. So first bring the knee in, push the other leg out, get a little bit of space there. And then when you feel that you're ready, go ahead, extend. No competition, you do you, I'll do me. Relax every other body part, keep that extended knee straight. Let both legs go down, leave your arms up. Move your right leg over to the right edge of the mat, and then left leg over to the right leg. So they can be together, or you can cross your left leg over your right leg, you decide. So you're kind of swung off to the right side with feet together or with feet crossed. Now my arms are above my chest. I'm going to hold my right hand at the left wrist. Let my arms go overhead. Watch out if you've got a chair there. And then use your right hand to pull the left arm. So you're making an arc. If you saw yourself from above, you'd be in a crescent shape. You're leaning to the right edges of the mat, and your body is opening on the left side. Breathe. Settle. Enjoy. Release the grasp on the left arm, it'll fall out. Walk your feet back center on the mat. Both arms go up. Left hand grabs the right wrist. Left leg finds the edge of the mat on the left side somewhere. Cross your right leg either over the ankle or place it adjacent to the left leg. Arms go overhead, and then pull your body into that curve. Is there any resistance here? Why is that? One more breath. And slowly release. So I'm going to invite you to set up for everybody's favorite pose, Shavasana. Because you're at home, you may have things that you can use for props, but if not, bending the knees is always a little grace for your back. You can lay on your back, you can lay on your side, you can lay on your belly. You can be however you would like to be. You can warm up your feet. I have blankets here. This is your time to do nothing. Okay, so Laura's got the sunshine on her. Oh, I'll put this over you. Okay. This is a nice little heavy blanket. So you're getting yourself situated for what would be nothing. Nothing. And it seems like nothing, and yet, many of us bring the sensation. So take in your breath, and that's all you need to think about. So now it's do nothing. So I've come to sit and to remind you that whatever you did with your body today is now in the past. So we leave that and allow the body to rest. And we also aren't jetting out into what's going to happen the rest of the day. You're right here, right now. This can be a challenge, so enjoy this time. You're safe, you're well cared for. If those distractions wander in, go back to your breath or somewhere in nature that brings you peace and ease. So wait for the singing bell and let this time be yours. And there with your singing bowl is the invitation to come on back. Bring with you that taste of calm and quiet that you may have found. And of course you can stay just as you are, or you can roll onto your side if you'd rather. So thoughts today, this 18th of March, from Dwight D. Eisenhower, who said a sense of humor is part of the art of leadership, of getting along with people, of getting things done. Being able to laugh at ourselves and the situations we find ourselves in is a highly desirable quality. And we don't need to conceal our sense of humor in our public life, keeping it under wraps until we're safely surrounded by family and friends. The ability to approach problems with equanimity and good humor makes things easier, not only for ourselves, but also for anyone else lucky enough to be part of our life. Thought then for us today, stand-up comics can make the most ordinary things seem funny. And I don't have to be this clever, but if I can see the humor in everyday life, I'm going to be a much better companion to myself and to others. I try to take that under advisement. So as you come to sit nice and tall, so mindful of our bandhas, always present with our breath, and then aware of where we may hold tension. Let those arms again open to the side. As you take a breath, lift your spirit, lift your heart. Give yourself that gift of today. With the hands at the heart, we express the word that means the goodness in me honors the goodness in you, and we say, Namaste. So thank you for coming over. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, I will be sending this out to you, so you'll have the recording to view for another time, and then I'm doing my best to get things up onto YouTube because they just evaporate from Zoom. So, namaste.